And we are live. What's going on, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn Live? It is Wednesday. I'd like to welcome you to the first row. It's your man, Billy Rowe, Coach Rowe of First Row. I'd like to welcome you to the first row. And since it is Wednesday, we should already know what that means. It's time for the Wednesday word. That's Wednesday word. Jumping straight into it. Tonight's topic is reach out. As always, I like to share what I mean by my topic. So, what do I mean by the topic reach out? So, by the topic reach out, what I mean is how we are all simultaneously experiencing and living our individual lives and having our own individual unique experiences simultaneous because we don't like you take a turn, I take a turn. But while we're all experiencing that same our own same unique experiences with difficulties, challenges, successes, and all of the so forth. As we are all experiencing those things, we're also seeking companionship, or I don't even want to say companionship. We're all seeking compassion from others. So when we are in those times where it's challenging, we are seeking to have people who reach out and try to connect with us and check on us. And actually, this is going to sound very strange, but actually see us, not for the things that people assume that we are, but for the true experiences that we are having. So tonight, when it comes to reaching out, I have 3 tools for the first row that I want to share with you in regards to this topic. Let's jump straight into it. Tool number 1 when it comes to reaching out is assume we are all going through something. I think this was the most important tool for me because oftentimes when we ourselves are going through things, we almost take on this assumption that we are the only one who's going through a challenge. We are the only one who's suffering difficulties. I had a conversation with a friend once, and they were going through some financial struggles. And we're having this conversation, and they're like, "You've never gone through these types of struggles before. Like, you've never had a bad credit score before. You've never paid a bill late before." And I was like, "Yo, what are you talking about? Like, bro, at one point my credit score was like in the low 500s. What are we talking about? I've never gone through these things." But when we are going through things individually, we take on a lot of that assumption that we're the only ones who have ever experienced it, or not that we're the only ones who ever experienced it. Maybe that's a little too harsh. We are the only ones in our immediate circle who have ever experienced it. So thus, the people that are around us, the people that we want to go to, the people that we want to reach out to for help, encouragement, compassion, we typically won't or don't because we fear the judgment, because we make the assumption that nobody else is going through something. So this tool was really important about assuming that people are going through things because it activates 2 things. Number 1, it activates our human nature, our ability to see ourselves as a fallible human who's going to make mistakes, going to have challenges, going to have obstacles, and going to have successes. It activates our humanity. But the second thing that it activates is it activates our compassion. It activates our ability to see that even though we may see somebody at the surface level where they are today, and oh man, they're doing great and nothing's going wrong with them and all these wonderful things, even though we're seeing that, what's going on, Brother Bruce? Even though we're seeing that externally, by making that assumption that we're all going through something, it allows you to activate that compassion and not simply take for granted the picture that you see in front of you. It will also give you that courage to help you reach out to other people. Man, Brother Bruce, you're actually right on time because you're one of the people who genuinely reaches out to me to say, "Hey, brother, just want to check on you, see how you're doing. Just wanted to tap in with you and connect. Just wanted to have this moment to just say, hey, I'm proud of what you did last week on the first row. Keep it going." Like those check-ins are not just, oh, well, everything's great for you and everything's wonderful. Those check-ins are having the assumption that regardless of what I'm seeing on first row, regardless of what I'm seeing when we're interacting for business, Billy might be going through something. So let me check in just to see. And worst case scenario, I'm going through nothing. Thank you, my friend. Worst case scenario, I'm going through nothing and life is great. But that reach out is something that is implanted or ingrained in my memory to the point to where it's like, hey, I haven't talked to Bruce in a while. Let me check in on Bruce. Hey, I haven't talked to JC in a while. Let me check in on JC. I talk to JC almost every day. But besides the point, let me check in on these people. And so assuming that we're all going through something, what it does is it kind of removes us from that space of, I don't know if you guys felt this way when you were kids, depending on how your household was ran. But when I was a kid, and let's say I wanted to go and stay the night at my friend's house, there was always like a time that I was trying to find. It was almost like double dutch. I'm trying to find the right time to jump in and ask my parents, can I go and stay the night at Tim's house? Can I go down the street and hang out with Anthony? I'm trying to find the right time. I'm trying to jump in. And when you're trying to find the right time, just like in double dutch, because you don't want to get hit with the rope, you hesitate, and then you don't, and then you don't, and then you don't. And by the time it's time for you to actually jump in, the bell rings, recess is over, it's time to go in. You didn't do no double dutching. You didn't do any jumping. And that's the exact same thing when we are able to kind of overcome when we assume that people are going through things. We stop looking for the perfect time and we start settling for the optimal time. I'm not saying that you just jump in and, hey, trust me, you jump in wrong on the ropes, there is a wrong time to jump in, but there is an optimal time that you can jump in. You can maybe get it perfect, but you don't have to get it perfect as long as you get your feet moving. And that's how reaching out goes. You might get it perfect once in a lifetime, but why not reach out a million times or 100 times or 1,000 times in your lifetime to people? And we'll come to this tool later, but to people either because you need help or because they may need somebody to check on them. Why not reach out because you're waiting for perfection? And so that's really what this tool is about. It's about assuming that there is going to be something going on, assuming that there's not going to be a perfect time, and that you can just work with the optimal time, the time that works for the person versus the time that works for your confidence. That's really what it comes down to, your confidence. So that's tool number one when it comes to reaching out. Tool number two when it comes to reaching out is reach for the right people. Oh, hey, what's going on, Tinda? Reaching for the right people is critical. And what I mean by this is, if I were to put it into a scenario, think about the person who always calls you when they need money. They don't call you any other time. They just call you when they need money. So they're reaching out to you because, hey, I need money and I need resources, and this person has been reliable in the past. So I'm going to reach out to this person and hopefully they'll give me some money again this time. But then after they get the money, you don't hear from them. And we won't even go into the money being borrowed. We're just going to say you gave the money because that's a whole other conversation. But after they get the money, you don't hear from them. And what ends up happening is the next time you'll hear from them is when they need your compassion or they need your help. So when I say reach for the right people, reaching, which will come to this tool, reaching is not just about reaching out because you need help. It's also about reaching out to check on people. There's two things that are taking place. Sometimes it's the courage. Like, I mean, for myself personally, there's been times where I've been in financial situations and I've had to, like real financial situations where I've had to reach out to people and be like, yo, I need some help. Like, for real. Not like $20 help, not like fill the gas tank help, like a couple racks. And here's my plan to get it back to you. Like, there's been times where I've had to reach out to people like that, but I've had the ability to reach out to the right people or for the right people in that situation, because the relationship wasn't just a relationship where I had never checked on them before, where I hadn't built rapport with them, where I hadn't built a genuine relationship with them that wasn't totally attached to usury. This is like a once, maybe twice in a lifetime thing that I might need to do, where I'm reaching out and I need some serious financial assistance. But other than that, it's like I'll call you and be like, hey, just call and check on you. Don't want nothing, don't need nothing. Reaching out to the right people or reaching out for the right people, that's how reaching out, how I recommend you reach out. Because when there comes a time that you actually do need something, if all the reaches out have either been because you've only needed something, or if you've never reached out to really foster and nurture that relationship, you're playing with like 20% odds that they're going to actually help you, because the relationship isn't there. They don't see you as a person who truly sees them. They see you as a person who sees them as an opportunity. Oh man, this is perfect timing on this, JC. I can think of a few opportunists. I told you, an opportunity. They are blocked now. So when that reach out comes and they try to reach out because, Oh, I need some help. Oh, I need some change. Oh, I need some. It's like, no, man, you only reach out when you need things. So why would I be available to you when you're the only going to reach out to me when you need things, when I'm willing to reach out to you when I need nothing, when I need nothing from you but to check on you and make sure that you're okay. That's why reaching for the right people is so important. Like it was almost tool number one, I'm not gonna lie, but I felt like we needed to be humans first. And then the next thing we needed to do is make sure that the people that we are reaching out to, the people that we are investing in, whether it's we're reaching out and investing into them because we're helping them, or we're reaching out and investing in that relationship because we need help from them. That is why I feel like reaching out to the right people is so important. Because here's the other side of that: if we begin to reach out for the wrong people, what ends up happening is you end up in a situation where, and we'll talk about this later. Man, I feel like there's a lot of things we're going to talk about later, but you'll end up in a situation where they talk about having a hardened heart, and where your heart is hard, and now because of how your reaching out experience has been with people, reaching out to the wrong people, you now don't receive people reaching out to you well, or you don't reach out to people because now it's me or nothing. It's all about me. It's only me against the world. Look, I've had that mentality, and in some ways still carry the mentality of me against the world, but I'm working on dissolving that when appropriate, because it's not me against the entire world. I have a tribe full of people that support me, that love me, that care about me, that check on me, and that I support, love, care about, and check on. And so it's not really me against the world, it's our tribe against the world. And so this is why reaching for the right people is so critical, because as much as we want to reach out, we can actually hinder our ability to reach out if we're reaching out to the wrong people who are taking that compassion or kindness for granted. The other thing about reaching out is you're not obligated to reach out. When you make reaching out an obligation, and I've learned this I've recently learned this year. When you make reaching out an obligation, what you're doing is you are making it a task. And once something becomes a task, it loses the potency of what it actually is. When I reach out genuinely, compassionately, organically to people that I love and care about, it is not a task like, oh, let me check on Bruce today and see how he's doing. Let me check on JC today and see how she's doing. That's not an act of love, and so there's no potency or power behind that. But when I'm reaching out to them and I'm authentic, and it's like, hey, I'm concerned about my friend. I just want to make sure they're straight today. That is received because the energy behind it, it is received in a manner that can be nurturing to the person. When something is a task, when somebody is a burden, when somebody is just something that you have to do because it's, I guess I have to do this, it is really hard for that energy to permeate that person, energize that person, and really nurture the relationship that you're trying to build. So that's tool number two when it comes to reaching out. Again, reach for the right people, because if you reach for the wrong people, it's like reaching for a hot stove. You're going to get burned. And then tool number three when it comes to the reach out is reaching is a two-way street. I've been wanting to say this for like the past two tools, but reaching truly is a two-way street. And it's not just us reaching out to others because they may need to be checked on. It's also having the humility and the courage. I think those two things go hand in hand: the humility and the courage to reach out when you need help. Look, I can assume that everybody's going through something. I can actually know that everybody's going through something, but I am one person. I'm one person. And I might not make the call the day a friend of mine or a person in my tribe needs my help. Reaching out is a two-way street. If you need help, reach out. If you think somebody may need help, reach out. If you think somebody doesn't need help, reach out, because at the end of the day, again, we are all going through something that will at some point or another not be positive. That's the wild thing. We're all going through something, good or bad, but at some point it's not going to be good. It's just the way life works. How wonderful life would be is if everything we were going through was great. We wouldn't have to reach out as much because it'd be like, man, I know everything's going great for him. Everything's going great for her. Everything's going great for me. Everything's going great for everybody. But that's just not the way the world is. That's not the way life is. So you're going to have some challenges. You're going to have some things that come up um, that people are going to need to, I don't want to say need to know about, because then I feel like it's, oh, mind your business. I feel like it's that people are going to need you to notify them about, like, hey, I'm going through a lot right now. It'd be very helpful if you could help me with this situation. And it's not even always a monetary situation. Actually, it's rarely, I mean, if depending on your tribe, but with my tribe, it's rarely a monetary situation that we're dealing with. It's normally an encouragement situation, a self doubt situation, a situation that has to do with maybe family, a situation that may have to do with a relationship that they have, and they're just seeking advice. There's often times where I'm like, hey, yo, am I tripping? And I'll reach out to people to see if I'm the one who's tripping in a situation that I'm in. That's why it's a two-way street, is because it cannot be 100% my responsibility to reach out to you, whether I need help or you need help. It can't be 100% of my responsibility. And vice versa, it can't be 100% of your responsibility to reach out to me to see if I need help. And it can't be 100% of your responsibility to reach out to me if you need help. Though I think if you need help or if I need help, it is more so our responsibility to communicate that and put that out there with the people that we trust in our tribe. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's hard just to ask for help. Sometimes, let's be honest. Sometimes we don't even know we need help. We're like, oh yeah, man, I didn't know I needed that help. I actually had a sister of mine, a really close friend of mine, call me this week and said, hey, how's everything going? I'm just checking on you. I heard some things and I wanted to make sure you were straight. And I didn't even realize the impact that that had on me. And it was weird because I already had the Wednesday word picked out, but like that moment, I've already crafted the Wednesday word, going through the content, figuring out how it relates to me and how it's been used in my life. And then somebody calls me and says, hey, I'm just checking on you, making sure you're good. And I was like, dang, that's why I love this person in my tribe. Because even though I wasn't aware yet. I know I'm going through things, but I wasn't aware yet that I needed to reach out to get some help and get some support and to be seen and bounce some ideas off of this person to help me understand if the decisions that I'm making are right or wrong. And so that's tool number 3. Really quick, I'm gonna bring in not the talking back and forth in the chat, but Chinda says hello. Definitely reach for the right people, and Bruce says connections that are chores don't last. Man, those tasks, I'm telling you, if it's a task, once I check it off my list, guess what? I'm not coming back to the same task. Booyah. So that's the tools that I have for you really quick. Let's go over them again for reaching out. Let's go over them really quickly. Again, tool number 1 is assume we are all going through something. What it does is it activates your compassion for others and it activates your courage to be able to be ready for that two-way street. Tool number 2 is reach for the right people, because if you reach for the wrong people, you're going to get burned. And once we get burned too many times, eventually we lose feelings. And when I say lose feelings, I don't mean the feeling in our hands. I mean the feeling in our heart. And we become less compassionate to the people who truly would be worth. And I don't mean that people are not worth our reaching out. I mean people who would be worth the investment for us to reach out. Everybody's worthy to reach out. I just don't reach out to everybody. Everybody's worthy to be reached out to by someone, not necessarily by you or by me. And then tool number 3 is reaching is a two-way street. Look, it can't always be me reaching out because I need help. It can't always be me reaching out because I'm checking on you. And it can't always be you doing the same 2 things. It's a two-way street. It's almost like a conversation. If I'm talking to you and you're not saying anything back, and I'm asking you questions and you're not saying anything back, then guess what? We're not having a conversation. I'm just talking to you. And unfortunately, in the reaching out portion of our life, if I'm always reaching out and you're never reaching out, then we don't have a relationship. We just have familiarity with each other. And so that's what I have for you guys tonight on reaching out. Really quick, as always with the Wednesday word, I like to share a personal story, something that got me thinking about this particular topic. And though the thing that got me thinking about the topic was one thing, there's something that's transpired recently that I'm like, you know what? That resonates better with me. And so, you know how I am with the Wednesday word with stories. I try to be balanced. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. And honestly, this is a space in my life that I am still struggling through, the reaching out space. Not so much on the reaching out to others, but really the third tool of reaching out being a two-way street. I'm pretty good about reaching out, checking in on people. Hey, how's everything going for you? This, that, and the other. But what I'm not good at, and I'm working to get better at, is reaching out when I need help. This is an extremely challenging, I don't want to call it a task because it's not a task. This is extremely challenging skill for me to be able to reach out to people when I need help. And so my struggle with my two-way street, um, it impacts the relationship between my wife and I, because my wife is a very compassionate person, who wants to be supportive of her husband and wants to help, be the true helpmeet to her husband. But there are times that she will try to reach out. She'll see I'm struggling with something. She'll see I'm stressed. She'll see whatever. And instead of me reaching out and say, babe, I really want to talk to you about something that I'm stressed with and get your opinion, or just lay on your chest and get some love and affection, like whatever it may be. Instead of doing that, what happens is, because of my experiences, that of whether it was reaching out because I needed help, or people just reaching out to me and nobody, or I mean, people reaching out to me when they need me, but nobody ever reaching out to check on me. A lot of my ability to operate in that two-way street has been hardened. And so now I'm here with a chisel trying to break the ice off of my heart, because we used to go by the Cold. That used to be my name, Row the Cold. But I'm trying to break this ice off of my heart so that I can be receptive to the compassion that my wife truly has for me, in wanting to be a support to me and wanting to reach out to me when she sees that I'm struggling. And so what happens is right now there's times where I'm doing whatever I'm doing or dealing with whatever I'm dealing with, and she tries to reach out, and instead of embracing that and saying, man, I really needed that, or I really needed that help, or I really needed that affection, or I needed that compassion, I'll swat her hand away like, I don't need that. I'm good. And in all sincerity, I am good. I'm good because I've practiced being hard. But at the same time, that's not who I want to be. I do want to be a much more softer and compassionate, not only husband, but I want to be a softer and compassionate individual. And so it's an exercise for me that currently I could tell you probably like 5 out of 6 times I'm going to fail at. Like, hey, I'm reaching out to you. Hey, babe, is there anything you need to talk about? I'm normally going to shut down because that's what I've done for, I don't know, 40 some odd years. So it's learning to be that emotional, intelligent person, though, that says, okay, you take a step back, you look at the situation, you see your wife is reaching out, and you're swatting her hand away. Now the question is, why? And this is the bonus tool, is oftentimes we will not reach out for help. We're okay with reaching out to help, but we're not okay with reaching out for help because we have a fear of disappointment. That fear often causes us to swat not even just the hands of people who are trying to come and help us away, but our own hand from reaching out. Who you reaching out to? We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't reach out for help. And that is the challenge of reaching out, is that the bonus tool is, if we can overcome our fear of disappointment when it comes to reaching out for help specifically, if we can overcome our fear of disappointment, our fear of being let down, our ability to reach out will improve. Our ability to reach out to help each other will improve. Our ability to reach out when we need help from each other will improve. So that's what I have for you guys this evening. I always enjoy doing the Wednesday word. It's something that picks up my week in the middle of the week and keeps me bam, 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 bam going. So other than that, I do have an announcement that I need to make for today, because you may have noticed yesterday there was no Carolyn Michelle and Billy Rowe live. If you missed it, we moved the date to Friday. And so this Friday will actually be Tara Michelle and Billy Rowe live, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll also be releasing the Grind to Find podcast. So if you want 2 hours of content, come catch us live, listen, grind with us, and then jump over to the Grind to Find after and hear that, the Grind to Find by Tara Michelle, and you will not be disappointed. Other than that, the next time that you'll see us live, other than Friday after that, will be the Wednesday Word next week on the first row. And then there was another thing that I wanted to tell you, and I cannot remember what it was right now. So I guess we're going to have to go without telling you that. But just stay tuned to our social media. You'll see some things that are coming. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. But this Wednesday Word, or not Wednesday Word, this week's Tara Michelle and Billy Rowe live will actually be the last Tara Michelle and Billy Rowe live for the year. Why? Because we're going into the holiday season and we're going to take a break, recharge, come back with season 3 in the beginning of 2023 and be ready to go. But this has been an amazing journey. This will be the 26th episode of Tara Michelle and Billy Rowe live, something that we started that literally has just, it's been a wonderful journey to an uplifting journey, not wonderful, an uplifting journey to share a stage and a platform with Tara Michelle. She's a phenomenal person in my tribe. So when she reaches out or when I reach out, we got each other's back. But that's what I have for you guys today. As always, it's my absolute pleasure to spend time with you on the Wednesday Word. Thank you guys for tuning in live. As always, if you like this video, share it. If you share it, like it. I love engaging with you guys in the live chat. And if you're watching via the replay, happy to engage with you in the replay for the first 7 days that the content is out. And then after that, we move on to the next content. So until the next time, one love, peace, and God bless. Thanks for sitting on the first row.